Planning and Operations Committee meeting for SORTA in June 2021. Call this meeting to order, and we've got a busy agenda today, so let's get started. But first, the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the Republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, are there any changes to the minutes from last month? Any questions or concerns? If not, can somebody make a motion to approve? Heard some audio there today. Couldn't catch it.
I make motion that we approve the minutes.
Great, any seconds?
I'll second. It's Kathy.
Great, thank you. All right. If there are no further questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say it right. Any abstentions? All right, approve the minutes from last month. So breakdown here, we've got good news from John Ravazio. We have a park and ride report from Khaled. We have operator recruitment report from Adrian Harrison. And we have ridership reports. And then I think we have 3 action items on camera maintenance systems, renovations to the Silverton Assessment Center, and a resolution on on-demand services and consulting for that. So we've got a lot to get through. John, please take it away with your good news.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let's start off with the big highlight. We are transforming our system and doing our part to continue to transform this region. Reinventing Metro is here. Service is running. Thank you again to everyone and for all the support and the work to make this happen over the years. Thank you specifically also to those making it happen as we speak. As you know, we've got 7 overnight routes in operation. That takes a staff of about 20 operators working into the late night and early morning hours, either on a weekday or on a weekend. We've expanded the supervisor schedule as well and increased police detail for safety. So thank you to the supervisors and to our partners at CPD for also making sure that we've got the resources out there to help our customers and support our operators. I'd now like to invite Dave Etienne to speak to some of the feedback that we have on the service, as well as some other exciting things in the marketing and communications world. Take it away, Dave.
Thank you, John. As you might expect, the customer response to our 24-hour service and our other service improvements has been extremely positive and overwhelming. This is just a sampling of what customers have posted on social media. And you know, those are long-term riders. I know for a fact that one of them is a medical worker, a hospital worker who is extremely entirely dependent on Metro. And her tweets leading up to the service improvement effective date were all anticipatory, and since then they have been nothing but appreciative and thankful for making it possible for her to get home late in the evening or very early in the morning when she completes her work shift. Next slide, please. In keeping with the Reinventing Metro theme, we are right in the middle of the 10 routes, 10 days promotion. For those of you who were at the kickoff on Government Square on June 1st last week, you saw just how busy and excited the event was. Our customers, as I said, are extremely appreciative and extremely excited by these service improvements. We have had nothing but positive experiences, and I've had to restock the street team actually twice now with swag. These events have been so popular and so well attended. We will be, tomorrow we will be out at Route 33. The street team will be riding the Route 33 during rush hour, providing giveaways, free ride tickets, and promoting the service improvements on Route 33 and all the other routes. And then we have the wrap up on June 10th. We will be up in the Uptown area at the Metro Plus Uptown Transit District stop at Jefferson University from 1 to 3. We will have the UC mascot. We Pops and the street team, and we will be once again informing customers and welcoming people to learn more about the service improvements. Next slide, please. These are just some images from the kickoff event, and as you probably already know from previous events we've done, the obvious addition to any event is some sort of live music, whether it be an actual band or a DJ providing the sounds. That seems to add an energy level and just a degree of excitement that is unsurpassed in any other event. So look for more live music opportunities throughout the rest of the year as we do more public outreach. It's clearly a customer favorite, and it's one we're going to continue to do. Just want you to know there's some other items that we've looped the community in to provide more excitement and more giveaways for our customers during the 10 rounds, 10 days promotion. So these are some freebies and discounts that our riders can get from our promotional partners. The Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library, along those 10 routes, have been offering free library tote bags with information. The Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden is offering a $2 discounts on tickets using the code MetroZoo. The Esquire Theater is offering a buy one, get one ticket with the Metro Pass. Restaurant Pampas is offering Metro riders 10% off when they mention the discount. Revolution Rotisserie is offering a 15% discount using the code Metro15. Sidewinder Coffee, which is a partner in Northside, is offering 50-cent drink discounts with any Metro Pass. And Trey Bell Cakes is offering a free cookie with a $5 purchase with the pass. I want to say that I point these out because this really represents not just a customer acceptance, but I think a real community acceptance of our service improvements. And I think it highlights the importance that these partners place and recognize in our ability to offer this additional service that will help their businesses bring more customers and, perhaps even more important, more employees to their doors. Just a quick coverage highlight. Obviously, when we do something as momentous as reinventing Metro, obviously that's going to get a lot of media coverage, but we also had a few other things that got some media coverage. For instance, our $1,000 hiring bonus for new bus drivers got some good play. We also offered a free day for people who brought their bikes on the buses on Bike to Work Day. That got some media play. But really the highlight of our media coverage over the last month was the reinventing Metro improvements. We had a tremendous op-ed written by Chamber Presidents Jill Meyer and Eric Kearney. We also had a great op-ed that our CEO Darryl Haley had in the newspaper in the Cincinnati.com. So I think that really again, I can't say enough, the community support and the community anticipation and appreciation for this service that we're putting out there is very obvious, and it's going to be something that's just going to keep on going. Next slide. Thank you to everybody. These are just some shots from when we had the appreciation event where we served some free food out there at our garages. So we really want to thank our employees, and we wanted to thank them not just for all the work they did throughout COVID, but for helping us with the fare simplification and for getting us prepped and ready to hit the ground running with the reinventing Metro service improvements. I think that concludes me. If I could see the next slide, I'll know that for sure. That's it for me. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you to our customers that took part in National Bike to Work Day. Over 200 free rides for those that brought their bike and used a bike rack to continue to tout our accessibility, how we can help folks get multimodal ways of transportation to where they need to go. So Bike to Work Day, another successful day. Thank you to all the local partners that also participated. I'd now like to invite Adrian Hairston to speak about our recent employee recognition winners. Adrian.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to talk again about the employee recognition program, which was launched this year. Again, we continue to have some great momentum in terms of buy-in from the employee population. So we're excited about that. So our first awardee for April out of the Bond Hill Maintenance Department was Ben Ward, and Ben was recognized for his professionalism, and he always was noted. He always does an outstanding job, and he's very knowledgeable about his job. So congratulations to Ben. Out of the Queensgate Maintenance Department, we have Daryl McDonald. Daryl's nomination states he takes pride in his job and always just does an outstanding job delivering on the work that he provides to Metro. So again, congratulations to Daryl. And then on the leadership side, we had Supervisor Steve O'Leary, who was also out of the maintenance department, who was awarded the Silver Wheel for his ability to turn around cleaning up the access facility. When they were notified that Senator Sherrod Brown was coming to town on a Thursday and he would be there on Friday, he was able to get the garage clean, pull his team together, and do a thorough cleaning of the access garage in less than 24 hours. So congratulations, Steve. We appreciate your efforts. Next slide, please. On the operator side, out of the Bond Hill facility, we had Juwan Carton. And Juwan was recognized for always being willing to take on extra work if needed, and always offering to do additional work. No customer complaints. She offered to clean up the club room bulletin board and get it organized on behalf of Bond Hill. So she's just always making an extra effort to go all out and assist as needed. On the administrative support side, we have June Hahn. June was recognized for all of her excellent work. June is actually the individual who has taken the lead in the day-to-day maintenance of the employee recognition program, and she just goes above and beyond to make sure we've got everything we need from all of the managers and supervisors in the field, to make sure that marketing communications has everything they need to get the individuals recognized in the newsletter that we publish. So again, she was just recognized for going above and beyond, and again, we thank you, June, for your efforts. And then finally, on the operator side at Queensgate, Crystal Reese was noted for being dependable and always creating a positive work environment, always being willing to help the customer, and always willing to also take on extra shifts as needed, which we've needed quite a bit of here of late. So again, congratulations to Crystal, and congratulations to all of our April Silver Wheel winners. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. We continue to remind everyone, don't hesitate, vaccinate, and we were happy to partner with the Village of Silverton in May to offer a pop-up vaccination site at our Silverton Assessment Facility. So this opportunity offered the one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So in a drive-through fashion, you drive up, get your vaccine, one shot, and you're done. So thank you to Lisa Ollick and the team there that partnered with the Village of Silverton for a very successful community event. I'd now like to invite Pat Giblin to give some updates on the trapeze update, in particular the operational improvements and improvements for the customer experience that we're seeing through this technology upgrade. Pat.
Thanks, John. So in the middle of May, we completed our upgrade for all of our trapeze cloud moves. So we often use trapeze universally here at Metro because of, in much the same way as somebody might say Microsoft. But to give everybody a sense of scale, this wasn't just a single application. This was the whole enterprise suite of applications that we at Metro use. The key access applications were done at the end of February, and then we upgraded and moved all of the rest of the applications, which is about 17 applications, modules, and such, in the middle of May. So it's very much what we call in IT speak a bit of a big bang upgrade. You can go ahead and go, and we've moved forward 6 versions for our operational applications and fixed route, and 8 versions for access when we completed that. If you go to the next slide. Because it's such a broad sweeping series of applications, this was a massive team effort. So this wasn't just something that IT did. This is something that everyone in the Metro organization had a part in and a hand in. We worked with fixed route operations team, planning, payroll had to make some serious changes in testing, customer care. The project management group was very helpful in helping this project that took well over a year to implement, as well as maintenance and planning, all involved with long overnight transitions of these applications. And a special recognition to Andy Stelter. Andy worked an ungodly number of hours over the past year and a half, everywhere from the funding side of this all the way through the project planning and the implementation and some of our post support. This has enabled us to retire old hardware. We had a lot of risk associated with old hardware, old operating systems. We moved to a much safer, secure, constantly updated Microsoft Azure cloud service that provides us, better support, more agility is to add or remove resources as needed, and it's really positioned us for growth, both in volume and in functionality, so that we can start deploying. We've got training going on last week and this week to really enable us to start taking better advantage of the additional features and functions in these newer versions of the application.
Thank you, Pat. And to save the best for last, June is National. Yes, sir. Question.
Yeah, this is Greg. That's great stuff on the IT. Just as a heads up, because Daryl's going to ask you, I asked us to get an update on sort of general cybersecurity with the ransomware stuff we're hearing. So he'll probably put that on your agenda for next month.
Well, yes. Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Interim Chief Safety Officer Mike Wild to speak about June being National Safety Month and the items and efforts that Mike's team will be targeting to serve our employees and better educate them in terms of the safety world. Mike.
All right, thanks, John. So week 1 is dedicated to preventing accidents before they happen. So we start by identifying the risks. We use our hazard analysis tools, Riskmaster for trend analysis, and we use our operator reports to see what's really going on out there. We also take proactive measures, reporting. We encourage everyone to use our new safety management system tool. That's safety@gometro.com to report concerns. This week, our operators will also learn about de-escalation techniques, ideas and procedures for eliminating conflict. In week 2, we address ongoing COVID-19 concerns, keeping everyone informed of the latest guidelines and returning to work. Sharing our confidence in the vaccine. As the vaccinated numbers increase, cases and deaths go down. Really as simple as that. On week 3, feeling safe on the job, promoting inclusion, reporting safety concerns anonymously without fear. Employees can remain anonymous if they like. Evacuations, we'll talk about those. Well, what to do when you hear a fire alarm, where do we go, and what do we do, and who can authorize return to the building. All of this type of information and more will be covered during week 3. Week 4, advancing our safety journey is really all about continuous improvement, utilizing our Safety and Security Review Committee. That's our SSRC. This team meets monthly to address security-related concerns and also safety-related concerns before they turn into an accident. This team is also involved in the security-related tabletop exercises and full-scale exercises that take place each summer. We actually have a tabletop exercise scheduled for this Thursday. It'll be an in-person exercise hosted by TSA. That'll take place this Thursday at 11 a.m. Let's see. Our agenda for National Safety Month is in line with the National Safety Council recommendations and with other transit agencies across the country. Any questions or welcome? That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mike, and thank you everyone for the update. Plenty going on. Blake, that's the news.
Thank you very much. Craig took my question. I think that's on everybody's mind right now, the IT security. So that's a great idea to address that for these systems and others maybe next month. Also, I think those trapeze systems should hopefully improve some operations and make it also a lot nicer place to work. Having new systems that maybe are easier to work with, less risk to be worried about. So, any updates on that would be very welcome next month. All right, I think we're moving on to park and ride reports. Alex, take it away.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. This is just a briefing item regarding 3 of our park and rides. As you probably know, we utilize about 24 park and rides. Have kind of 3, we own 3 of those, and then we pay leases on about 11 of the 24. And this is just, a briefing item, as I said, regarding 3 park and rides contracts. One is the Delhi Plaza, where we have about 36 spaces, and we're just giving you a heads up that by the end of this year, that contract will expire, and we'll be renewing that in the next few months. So this is just a heads up note. Next slide, please. For Regency Milford, this is a new contract, or actually renewing the contract with them for 3 more years. And the current contract expires at the end of this month. We're utilizing 40 spaces there at a 3-year cost of about $18,720. Next, please. Queen City Racket Club, we're not renewing the contract because it expires next year. However, we're just adding $3,300 to the current budget just to cover the expenses through the current contract. We have about 50 spaces there at Queen City Racket Club. And that's it for the briefing item. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Appreciate your time. I think we'll hear again from you later, right? Operator recruitment report, Adrian Harrison.
Good morning again. Thank you. So I'm going to take some time to talk about some of the initiatives we have going in the recruiting area to try to increase our operator headcount. There are quite a few things that we are doing to increase these efforts. So I'm going to walk you through that this morning and take any questions at the end. So our recruiting strategy, we had with the implementation of the 24-hour routes, the expectation to hire at least a net new 24 operators by June. That does not include any that we may have in terms of going from 500, which is not the number we're at currently. We would need approximately 524. So the actual head count, I'll talk about a little bit later in terms of where we are in terms of the actual numbers. But I'll start with some of the initiatives we have working with the marketing communications team. I work every year with Brandy's team, specifically Dave Etienne, who does a great job pulling together a marketing communication recruiting strategy on behalf of Metro. And that includes things like our radio ads, and we usually advertise on multiple radio stations, Radio 1, La Mega, Hubbard, Cumulus, again, trying to make sure we encompass all areas of the community. And so we have tons of ads that are running on all of those stations about our recruiting efforts. And so then we also do quite a bit around print media. City Beat, Cincinnati Herald, Loving Guardia, which is a Hispanic magazine that goes out that we advertise in, again, all about our recruiting of not just operators, but operators and maintenance, with the focus being more on operators. Brandy's team does quite a bit around social media, so we're constantly posting to all the social media websites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. We're posting about our recruiting efforts, specifically around operators. And then also we're doing display ads throughout the city. We do additionally internal and external ads on the buses, and we have even some onboard audio that we do. So we've got ads on the outside of the buses, we've got ads on the inside of the buses, we've got onboard audio that comes across, letting folks know that we are hiring operators and maintenance. In addition to that, we recently had Channel 12 reach out to us about the opportunity to do some local TV advertising. So they came out last week and they did an interview with someone from our training team, Freddie Dukes, about recruiting and what it takes basically to be an operator. And in addition to that, they're going to run some commercials for us over the next 3 months, the months of June, July, and August, about our recruiting efforts. So we're real excited about that additional exposure. The other thing we have is we recently had some Metro is hiring yard signs. You see yard signs for every organization that's out there that's hiring. About Amazon has them first. I mean, you look around and you see them everywhere. So we have some Metro is hiring operators, specifically yard signs, that I have plenty of. If anyone would like to come pick some up and place in their yard or at the end of their street. We've been working with the operations team, some of the street supervisors, and as they are out, they're just placing the signs wherever. We are also, someone from my recruiting team is also going to be taking the signs and placing them just throughout the city as needed. We've got signs outside of our garages, obviously, so we are making a great effort to make sure these signs are out there and exposed. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to work with, and marketing doesn't know this yet, have the signs converted to Spanish, and we're going to place those out in the community as well, especially in the areas where we know we have a large Hispanic population. So that effort is coming as well. Next slide, please. So some additional recruiting efforts outside of the marketing and advertising. We've established a partnership with a staffing agency that we're working with that will hopefully continue to funnel us some candidates for our operator pool. We have virtual career fairs that we've been doing every other week. So we're having twice a month, and a month started late in March and then into April and May. We're having a virtual career fair every other week on Saturday. We also have been working continuously, even through COVID, just to keep our name out there with multiple community organizations. I just mentioned a few here, but this is by far not the all-inclusive list. But working with those partnerships, letting them know we're hiring, attempting to try to do some career fair where we come out and we set up a table. We hope to do that this year. Obviously, we weren't able to do it during COVID in 2020, where we set up a table and just let them know we're hiring and try to interview some of their clients on the spot. So we've got, Cincinnati Works we're working with, Hispanic Chamber, How Means Jobs. Again, this is not an inclusive list. There are probably 15 to 20 more organizations that we have just constantly been contacting, putting our names out there with them to let them know that we're hiring and we want to partner with them. We've got some job boards that we're working with as well. We've been partnering with Diversity Jobs, Monster, Indeed. Those are ongoing. We've had those for some while about our recruiting efforts, specifically around operators. Other jobs as well, obviously on Indeed, but specifically around operators for everything. We have moved new hire orientation to be being held on a weekly basis. So we used to have new hire orientation every other week, and sometime, once a month in 2020 because of COVID. So now we have a new hire orientation every week so that we don't delay people getting started who want to start sooner versus later. And so we also have a drawing for the candidates that if they start within 3 weeks of the time we make them the actual offer, the name goes into the hat for a drawing for a $100 gift card. So that's just one of the additional efforts we're trying to make. Additionally, we've been offering a CDL permit class for about the last year and a half, where we actually, before they're hired, we allow them to come in on a Saturday, and they would sit through what it takes to pass the written portion for the CDL, because that was a requirement that we had before you could be hired. You had to at least have your permit, because you do start driving on the bus pretty quickly after you're hired. And so we were offering the class to try to help individuals pass the permit portion of the CDL exam, because we do know that part of our challenge is once we make offers, a lot of times those individuals don't have the permit. We do tend to lose some of the candidates as a result of going to get the permit or not having either the knowledge or the comfort with taking the exam. And so that is where we will tend to lose some of our candidates. So we're trying to overcome that by offering this permit class to help them pass the test. Anyone who attends the class on the Saturday, we just implemented, their name would go into the hat for a $50 gift card, a drawing for a $50 gift card. And we also have a short application that we've done. We've done that for some time, and we utilize that. So we had that converted to Spanish as well. We're using that when we go out to the community agencies and partners. We give them both the Spanish and the English version that they can use with their clients to let them know that we're hiring. We call it our short application. It just tells us that they're interested. They do still have to go online and complete the online version of the application as well. Additionally, the HR and training team are going out to various garage locations across town. They are going to, Government Square. We've been to Northside Transit Center. We've been to Kroger. And we're just setting up a table. We've got a few giveaways. We've got information about the fact that we're hiring. We're passing out flyers. So that's been weekly, at least one day a week. We're at one of many locations just to let people know that we are hiring and get our active presence out there. Next slide, please. One of the things that the operations group came up with, one of the ideas they came up with are T-shirts for operators to wear. They were being worn Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and basically say, we're hiring, Metro's hiring, and they could wear it on the bus and hopefully, again, give us some additional advertising. That came from one of the division managers and operations team, and we thought that was a great idea. Next slide, please. Additionally, we've got new hire bonuses. As you know, when you see signs, everybody's offering a $1,000 new hire bonus. So we increased our new hire bonus to $1,000, and the way it works is that they get the first 500 after they complete training. Training is about 8 to 10 weeks, and then they get the second 500 after they complete their 95-day probationary period. So that has been an incentive. We have also increased the operator referral bonus. So as employees refer individuals, operator candidates for hire, they are eligible for a $1,000 referral bonus. Now that referral bonus is paid once that candidate completes that probationary period. So after they complete the training, and then after the 95-day probationary period, the employee would then receive their $1,000 referral bonus, in their pay stub, the following pay after that 95-day completion by that candidate. We have increased the training wage from $15 to $16. We're trying to get as competitive as we can. We know that some of our competition is pretty aggressive with their starting wages, and I think this went up to 18, 16, and then you've got first student that's like 21 or 22, and you've got Peterman who's at like 19. So I'm confident we'll be able to get more competitive with our wage sooner versus later. And then we've also got a referral bonus contest to win a week of vacation. So for our employees, for the employee that refers the highest number of operator candidates, and they're hired through the month of June, up to June 31st. It started in May. Through the month of June, they have to actually be on board. Whoever has the largest number of referrals at that point would be eligible for, would win a free week of vacation. So that's a newer initiative that we've just started. Additionally, we've added some additional temporary resources to assist us with our recruiting efforts. Anybody who's involved in recruiting know it can be pretty administrative behind the scenes in terms of the work done to get people through assessments and backgrounds, contacting them and recontacting them, and collecting data from them, information on their permits and things like that. So we've employed some additional resources to help with a number of things around recruiting to try to make sure we keep our momentum. So I talked about the permit class we were having on Saturdays for helping people to get through and pass that permit. So what we decided to do of late is to actually bring the class in-house. So before they could be hired, prior to recently, they had to have that permit in hand. So what we decided to do of late is to actually bring the permit class in-house, where we're actually hiring them. We bring them in-house and we train them for 40 hours. Again, Monday for 8 hours, approximately 40 hours. Tuesday, we spend 8 hours with them training them. Wednesday, we spend a half a day, and then we take them to take the permit test. Anybody who doesn't pass on that Wednesday, we bring them back. We have a refresher class that we do with them on Thursday, and then we take them back on Friday and have them retest. This is only our second week trying the permit class option, where we're actually hiring them, bringing them in, teaching them permit. Unfortunately, if they don't pass on that Friday, we allow them to continue on their own, but they're not able to move forward as an employee at that point. So that's kind of what we're trying here of late, to just get some momentum with helping people being able to pass the permit and start with us as an operator. So if they pass on that Friday, we start them in new hire orientation, full new hire orientation on that Monday, but they are hired as of that Monday for the permit class. So that is a new initiative for us. Next slide, please. So this is, I just want to start with, this is a snapshot in time in terms of what we've seen come out of some of our efforts around recruiting. So when I talked about the resources we brought in terms of the temporary resources we brought them in to help us comb through our application via our applicant tracking system and our database, and they have reviewed about 2,500 applications from the prior 3 years. That did not include applications that we've got this year, which were over, it says 284, but it's well over 300. So they've combed through all of those individuals, all of those applications, contacted individuals who we have in the database who never finished the process with us in the prior 3 years, to contact them to see if they're still interested in working with Metro. And then starting them getting them scheduled for an interview and starting them in the process. So as a result of that effort, we were able to get about 198, just shy of 200 interviews scheduled. And that's the full-time, part-time breakdown there for each category. Unfortunately, we do have a no-show issue where we schedule the interview, but we do have individuals that don't show up. If they don't show up, we do reach back out to them again and ask them if they're still interested and try to reschedule them, because we know things can happen. And these are all done via Zoom, so sometimes we don't want to assume that maybe they didn't have some sort of a technical issue. So we conducted about 114 interviews. Again, this is a snapshot in time because there's been quite a few more since this slide was put together. And you can again see the full-time, part-time breakdown. We extended about 87 offers at that point. And then we have about 68 that are still outstanding. So they're still outstanding because we've extended the offer, but the individual hasn't accepted yet. And if you take about 21 of those individuals have then accepted the offer, but they're now working through the background drug screen process to clear that process. So they accepted the offer, they're working through our background and drug screen. We've hired, and we've lost some of these individuals. I want to be transparent. So all total, we have had about 22 individuals in training. And so we have lost a few individuals. Again, you see the full-time, part-time breakdown. We're probably at, if you take into account those we've lost and those that we've brought in since then, we're probably at about 26 that are in training. So we continue to have some momentum, but we do have quite a bit more to go. We do have, on average, we've been able to bring in about 20 last month, or the month of May. Not quite 20 if you include the last 2 weeks of recruiting, so including the week of June. So all total, about 20. We're averaging 11. Now, we do lose them in training, so that this number is fluid and it's dynamic. So it's never going to be exact because it's constantly emotion. They come in and, sometimes they stay, sometimes they don't. We lose them, come back, we hire more. So they make it through training. So it's a fluid number. I just want to be transparent about that. So it's an ongoing effort. We are seeing some momentum as a result of all of our efforts, and we're having a lot more interviews. We average probably, in a good week, we're averaging about 16, 18 interviews in a given week. During the time after we did the initial review of all of our applications, we were doing about 40 interviews in a given week. So it fluctuates, and again, since that time, we're averaging probably closer to 16, 18, it could be 20 on a good week, depending on how many individuals we're able to get a hold of. So we've got quite a bit more to do, but we're confident that we'll continue to drive home our recruiting. We've got a good deal of momentum. We've seen a great deal of increase in our pipeline, so we're real excited about that. Next slide, please. And one of the also one of the more recent efforts we're working on, and we're working with the maintenance team to come up with what we're calling a HR bus. So I don't know if anybody here, and if anybody's been here for any time, they're familiar with the Fifth Third Bank e-bus. So we are thinking of an HR bus for recruiting. So we like to have a bus equipped with laptops and tables and chairs, where an individual, as we go out into the communities, individuals can complete applications. We'll be able to conduct interviews and answer questions. We'll be able to, park at community events. It would just make us much more mobile from a recruiting standpoint, and we would be able to go throughout multiple counties with the bus, be able to have on-site interviews. It's great marketing for Metro. And it would be equipped with all types of Metro's hiring. Marketing is working to come up with a bus wrap that would work, and then maintenance is working to get the bus equipped with the necessary computers and all of the fitting for the tables and the things like that. So that's something else we're real excited about. So we've got tons of things we're attempting to do to try to increase our efforts around recruiting and increase our operator head count. It is a tough environment, as was mentioned earlier, I think by Michelle, but we're giving it everything we got right now. And that concludes my presentation. If there are any questions.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I've got a couple of questions if I can start off and imagine there may be a few others. What is our shortage right now? Like, we were trying to add 24 for reinventing Metro. Do we have other open positions?
On the operator side?
Yep.
Yeah, so we had anticipated our head count would be 500, and we're sitting at about 477. We started the year with about 497, but we've lost several, excuse me, operators and or full-time and progression operators this year so far. So our total head count, take that 23 plus 24 is probably almost 50 in terms of our need, I should say.
Okay. And then you mentioned that there's an increase in the pipeline.
Yeah.
I was really interested in kind of that trending data as I was looking over what's happened this year. Like, are applications going up? Are they going down? And related questions like, do we track where the people were, the applicants were motivated to apply from? You know, did they hear it on the radio? Did they see it on the web? Did they see you at a community event? That kind of thing. Curious, like, what's working? What's getting people in? With the obvious idea of let's do more of that, and that kind of direction.
Yeah, so we have the application asks them how they heard about it, because obviously with the employee referral program, we need to know if they were referred and by whom. It tells us if it was, you know, did they hear about us through the radio, did they hear about us through TV. Right now, it's across the board. You name it, and they're hearing about it from everything on the bus or somebody told them about it. We do quite a bit from the referral program, but we get quite a bit more just from our marketing and advertising efforts, and people see that we're hiring and hear it on the radio. So I don't have the exact numbers, but it is across the board, just a little bit of everything.
Do other board members want to jump in with questions?
Adrian, love to hear the best idea. Love what you're doing, thinking out of the box. Any ideas now that the Juneteenth events are happening and festivals are starting to come back out? Any ideas of reaching out to the NAACP or the African American Chamber, trying to get more involved in those things?
Absolutely. So we do try to make sure we have a presence at all these types of community events. We have actually reached out to the African American Chamber, Hispanic Chamber. There are multiple types of chambers out there. We've reached out to all of them to say, hey, we're recruiting. How can we partner with you? Again, there's a full list I can give you. I didn't bring, again, it's probably 20 plus organizations, the Urban League. I mean, you name it, we're reaching out to these organizations, trying to establish a partnership and make sure they know that we are hiring and we want to work with them. If they have candidates that they come forward our way, that we're interested in meeting with them, can we come out and set up tables? Now that things are opened up, we're trying to do exactly all of that. So yes, we are, anything and anybody who's having something, we're trying to be there and make sure everybody knows that Metro is hiring.
Excellent, thank you.
Anybody else? Questions? Is there any help you need, Adrian?
Your side. Lots of your side.
I'm stopping by to pick one up at the office tomorrow.
Okay. Yep.
But anything else people on the board might be able to do to help out, connections, that kind of thing?
Yeah. If you've got connections with organizations that you think, hey, have you thought about reaching out to this organization? By all means, let us know. We will reach out to them and try to build a partnership. Absolutely.
Okay.
And if you guys have any ideas for us as well, out of the box thinking, please share them.
Thank you very much. I had one more question. So we lost about 20 drivers so far this calendar year. I imagine there were a fair amount of retirements and that kind of thing. Do we have any anticipation on losing any more this summer? People who are coming up on retirement or anything like that?
So, yeah, we do try to look to see, I mean, people are eligible for retirement, but they may or may not retire. We do always know that. What we do have is that we've lost about 22 that were in progression or already an operator so far this year. What that number doesn't tell you are the number that have actually transferred to other positions, because in addition to that number, there are people who are taking other jobs, whether it's a street supervisor job, going to dispatch, or back to maintenance or fault pulling, or any number of places. So we have those individuals who transition out of our head count as well. But again, our true operator turnover is really not that bad. It's maybe 5% or so. Usually the numbers when we lose them, it's usually in training, and that number can run 30-35% sometimes. So yeah, we are continuing to just make sure we track that. We do try to anticipate our retirements when we know, but we don't always know that they're going to retire, even though they're eligible.
Thank you. All right. I've written so many notes on my paper here. I'm not sure what's next. Ridership reports. Matt Mormon.
Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Anderson. I'm standing in Matt. I'm the new Director of Development and Innovation here at SORTA. We'll begin with the fixed route ridership. Total ridership for the month of May was 614,347, which is about 22% lower than forecasted. However, when you account that in April we had 22 weekdays and in May we had 20 weekdays and fewer school days, we're still optimistic that our upward trend will continue. The majority of those rides took place on our local service, totaling just over 600,000. Express service made up 14,268 of those rides. And year to date, we are at 2.7 million rides, which is about 27% lower than the original forecast. Next slide. This slide is our 3-year comparison. It compares our performance in 2021 to both 2020 and 2019. And you'll see this green line looks an awful lot more like the navy blue line. So it's good things. Next slide. In terms of our KPIs, passengers per hour that tracks productivity on our service was 10.2, which is 10.5 below our KPI of 20.7. Passengers per trip on express service was 2.9, but it was higher than last month, but still below budget to the tune of 13.3 passengers per trip. Average weekday ridership was just over 25,000, a little bit down from April's 25,351 number. However, Saturdays and Sundays were both up from April. So Saturdays we averaged 12,587 rides. That's up from 11,903. And Sunday service averaged right around 8,400, which is up from 8,200 last month. Next slide, please. Total missed trips for the month of May was 1,604. Of those, practically all of them were due to no operator being available, 1,568. Metro operated 97% of all scheduled fixed route trips. Next slide.
Can I ask a question on the missed trips? So a trip is basically one direction on a route from end to end, right? Or is it there and back?
It's any piece of any trip, one direction out and back. But if you miss a piece of it, we count it as a missed trip.
Okay. So 1,604 of those, we've missed some piece of one direction on a route. And that's mostly due to operators not being available. And I think it was like 1,300 or approximately last month, 1,600 this month. And as far as I've been on the board, we haven't seen numbers like this. I remember like 300 being high. I guess a simple question, what's going on? And what can be done?
We have two challenges. One is our challenge with hiring, and we just went through a presentation on hiring. We have the other challenge that our attendance is above 20%. Our absenteeism is above 20%. We are addressing from both sides of that this summer. you should see a big improvement this summer because as CPS is out, there's no extra service. There's actually 20% less pullouts. It's why the big push this summer for the hiring, and by the end of June, we'll take a look at where we are in the hiring, and we'll have a different conversation with the board in July. Based on the successes that we have in June.
Are there any other data points we could look at here to help us understand what's going on? I know, I think the union has said that overtime is a factor here. Could we get some information on overtime and how that's impacting drivers and any other factors?
We actually have that and be happy to share it with the board. We looked at overtime for the last, I believe it was 5 years, John, you may want to talk about this. And our overtime hours, other than the peak of COVID, hasn't changed over the last few years. It's the same overtime that we've had for the last 4 or 5 years. This is a challenge that we have to meet, that we have to be successful with. And again, we've got a ton of data that we're pouring through and making decisions on how to move forward once we get through summer and school starts back up again. It's a conversation that we'll have with the board for July. John, you want to add anything?
Yeah, to Daryl's point, overtime really is returning to some of the seasonal norms that we would see. We traditionally see a lot of overtime in the spring, which follows the winter months where we don't see a lot of overtime, and attendance is generally at its peak, November through January. The year of 2020 saw an incredible decrease in overtime for a number of reasons. For 3 months there, we had a significant reduction in service. For most of the school year, we had a drastically impacted amount of CPS extra service on the road, which naturally can lead to even a lot of scheduled overtime and some unscheduled overtime. But even as CPS has returned, overtime has really returned towards seasonal norms, actually being lower than, say, past Aprils over that 5 years if you were to look at it from a trending standpoint.
So one of the other things I'll mention, this is a industry challenge right now, and what some of our regional partners have done. Tank recently in April, I believe it was, cut service. 40% of their routes now only run once an hour, and that's even during peak. Dayton just did an 11% service cut because they're missing service because of no operator. And Columbus did a different approach. In May of this year, Columbus just got back to 90% of their service. So since COVID started, Columbus cut service early on, and they just got back to 90% in May of this year. We are pouring through this data and doing everything we can for recruitment this summer. We'll be making some decisions real soon. We're planning for success, but we're also planning for what we need to do should we not be successful in the hiring process this summer.
I think that's a great idea to look at other similar systems in the region or similar size elsewhere, similar size composition, to see what they're doing, see what challenges they're facing, see if we can get any ideas and give us perspective on hiring challenges and mistrip challenges, just so we know what to think about when we see a number like this. That would be a huge help next time. Thank you. Any other questions?
Hey, Blake, just as an FYI, I also asked Glenn to pull the HR, the Human Resources Committee together next month to look at absenteeism and overtime and kind of how all those things are fitted together to make sure we have a fighting workplace that's able to provide service. So we should be into that too.
Well, we should have the discussions in the right place, if it's there or ups, as long as we're having those discussions, right?
Yep.
Yep, thanks. All right, I think we're at access, right? Sorry, Steve, please.
Oh, thanks, Blake. So, total access excess ridership for the month of May was 10,332 rides, which is about 17% below our original projections. 9,334 of those took place on weekdays. Next slide. Same as fixed route, we've again included the comparison of the 2021 versus 2020 and 2019, and you're seeing the trend line for 2021 looking a lot more familiar to pre-COVID era. So that concludes the ridership report.
Thank you very much. Thanks for stepping in. All right, we have 3 proposed resolutions to move through here. First on camera systems, second on renovations to the superintendent, and third on on-demand services consultant. So let's dive right into this first one. Jeff, I think you're going to brief us on it.
Jeff is hopefully on a beach somewhere right now on vacation this week, so I'll stand in.
All right, thank you, John.
For Mr. Munstock. Not a beach. I think he's got the kids in like Universal vacation, so good luck with that.
North Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, ouch.
I'm sorry, just joking. All right, go ahead.
Camera maintenance. We're seeking approval of a resolution to enter into a 5-year contract with Black Bear Radio at a cost not to exceed $1,091,755. That's the total cost for a 5-year agreement. This replaces a prior 5-year contract at a cost of $880,000. And a little context to that contract and what we're seeking here. So that contract was a flat price over 5 years, no increase in that contract for 5 years. And we've been operating for about an entire 6th year in an extension with this vendor as we approach this renewal. What we're also seeking to do is to segment out the camera preventative maintenance and repair. This space has evolved considerably in terms of our technology, the camera systems that we have on the buses, and at $1 million to give context of that cost there. This will include the entire fleet, so the fixed route fleet, the access fleet, north of 400 vehicles, averaged out to about a $500 per year or per camera system cost in terms of repair and preventive maintenance. Black Bear is a veteran-owned SBE, and in this contract, we've also engaged another subcontractor, SBE, at approximately 14% of the contract cost. The contract will be paid 100% with local operating funds. With that, we'll take any questions as we seek approval for this contract.
I have a question, if I may. So you say this replaces a 5-year contract. So I was just curious for a little bit of clarity on what, I mean, there's about a $200,000 differential. So I was just kind of curious for what accounts for that. Is that just passage of time and things cost more now, or?
It's one factor. We also have, we've upgraded the technology themselves. With our recent years in fleet purchases, we've moved towards an Apollo camera system, HD quality systems, Wi-Fi access, and the technology itself is much better. Joe Vilvins, are you on? Joe, can you give added context to the difference of the prior agreement versus going forward?
This is Daryl. We've also added the access vehicles to this agreement as well.
Okay, so this is for more vehicles in addition, you're saying?
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
So, in addition to the more vehicles, the technology has increased. The installation of the units has gotten a little bit more difficult because of especially the access units. The vehicles are smaller, so it causes us to create more installation cost. And then the fact that it's intertwined with all the other features of the bus. So you have a camera system. We have approximately 150 AHD camera systems, which is a non-digital system, but it hooks up to our wireless upload of video that we have now, and we'll have that capability across the board, which also increases the diagnostic time and repair of all these units. All of this combined really created the increase in cost.
Is it the older units that cost more money for maintenance and repair?
The older units we've actually replaced. That's why I was talking about the AHDs. We used to have a Safety Vision 6000 system on most of our older fleet. We've upgraded that to allow all of those other units to upload to our wireless interface. So the 150 units have replaced the Safety Vision 6000 units, which were obsolete. In addition to that, we have about 190 units, which are HDR 4Ks. They were all digital. So our oldest unit on our fleet will be the 33 7000 series Safety Vision units, which are on our 2013 vehicles.
I have one more question, if I could. I'm looking at the procurement summary here, and it looks like we only got one bid back from this. Am I reading that correctly?
Correct.
This is, I mean, maybe we've had these and I haven't noticed it before. This is the first procurement summary I recall looking at the short time I've been on the board where we only got one bid back. Is that, I mean, we didn't designate this as like a special source or anything, did we? I'm just curious if we have any thoughts as to why there was only one bid here.
From my understanding, there was about 4 or 5 other businesses interested in bidding on the product, but for several different reasons, they only do a specific part of it. They just didn't encompass the entire the servicing of the equipment. They either just simply installed new equipment, or they specifically serviced only one type of equipment, so they didn't feel that they could meet our obligation. So it ended up being just one bidder by the time it was all finished.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All right. If there are not, we'll need to approve this resolution or take other action. Are there any motions to approve as recommended?
This is Robert Harris, and I move that we recommend the acceptance of move forward on this bid. I think it's a pretty good bid. I like the fact that the veterans are involved in it, and I move that we approve.
Any seconds?
Second.
Thank you. Is this a voice vote, Chanel?
Yes, it's just a voice vote to move to the full board.
All right. So all in favor of moving to the full board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say right. Any abstentions? All right, so that moves to the full board. And if we're building a consent agenda, I would say put this on the consent agenda, unless anybody has any other direction. All right. And we can always pull it off in the full board meeting if needed. So next one is renovation of the Silverton Assessment Center. John, are you taking that as well?
Yes, sir. Thank you. This resolution seeks approval of a contract for the renovation of the Silverton Assessment Center. The contract would be with Perkins Carmack Construction for that facility renovation at a cost not to exceed $243,923. Funding for this project includes a $200,000 grant with a local match and some additional operating funds to match the cost of the contract, as we seek to build a contingency fund as part of the expenses, as well as exercising 2 options, some upgrades as part of the renovations. The idea here, the purposes are to provide the best customer experience through this improved assessment environment that really allows us to determine the best transit option for these customers, whether it's fixed route, whether it's access, depending on their mobility needs. The project includes exterior and interior renovations, and we'll walk through a few highlights of those renovations here. So the facility is a multi-purpose, multifunctional facility. It's used for access assessments, fair deal applications. It's been part of the Metro operation for more than 20 years, so it's in need of a facelift and some upgrades. And we'll walk through on the next slides here some of these improvements. In terms of the exterior accessibility, let's spend some time there. And the board members that were recently on a tour, we saw this glaring need firsthand. So see the bus route there, the blue dotted line, that curve in the road there. Right up towards the left there, you'll see where this is Montgomery Road running on the top of that graphic, where the Metro bus stop is. And in the picture over to the right, you can see how that person has to go around down to the intersection, and then this decline here, this accessible ramp decline. The problem is there's no crosswalk. There's no curb cut out there. So as we saw as part of the tour there, you actually got to go this entire route all the way down back to the graphic on the left, all the way down to the van and handicap accessible parking at the rear of the facility. Then that sidewalk doesn't serve the front door entrance on the other end without the curb cuts. You've then got to come in a wheelchair mobility device through the parking lot itself. So an incredible glaring need for an improvement here that was in the plans, but we saw it perfect timing with our recent board tour. This is just an absolute necessity here to move the curb cut, or to install a curb cut here where you see the crosswalk towards the front door of the facility there. So an obvious improvement there to the access of the facility. And then interior, these are sample pictures from CODA's assessment facility. So we'll be looking to install a new sand, gravel, and turf assessment area as part of the mobility assessment. A new fully functioning traffic signal and system to simulate intersections and traversing through the city landscape. An upgraded bus assessment area there. We will have a current low floor bus design. Right now we've got an actual older high floor retired model inside the facility. But as part of the renovations there, we will shift it to one of the other walls, and then we're seeking to exercise the option to add a lot more exterior lighting coming in. You can see it in the bottom picture at the left there from CODA's facility, what that kind of design could look like. So this is just a little feel of the improvement that we'll bring to the Silverton Assessment Center through this program, both interior and exterior. Moving back to the contract itself and the bid received here. An invitation for bid was sent out. 5 bids were received. Perkins Carmack submitted the lowest responsive qualifying bid. Their bid also includes approximately 5% DBE participation through a subcontractor. With that, we seek the board's approval for this resolution and entering into this contract.
And I move that we move forward on this. I think I know it's a good need. I was there on your excellent tour, and I would definitely approve this.
Thank you. Properly moved and seconded, and then we can take some questions maybe. Is there a second? I'm sorry.
I'll second. This is Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. Are there any questions people want to ask before we move forward with the vote? I have one question. Our riders who are coming to be assessed, are they responsible to get there themselves, or will they be picked up by access vehicles and brought for their assessments?
They are responsible for getting there themselves, but we can also certainly make the accommodation to get somebody there for the appointment.
Okay. So, all the more reason for making it as accessible as possible. And then, the other question I have is maybe a longer term question about kind of the location of this facility. I know going to some of the Reinventing Metro public hearings when I was first on the board member, specifically the one on the west side, I think it was in Westwood, people were saying that it's a challenge to get over there for people coming from the west side of Cincinnati. So I don't know if there's a solution for that, but I did want to bring that up because that stuck in my mind. There were 4 or 5 people after that one hearing, and they all were saying the same thing. So let's keep that in mind and making sure that everybody who needs mobility and transportation help can get the help that they need. All right. So properly moved and seconded. I haven't heard any questions. Or any more questions? All right, let's move forward. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say right. Any abstentions? All right, I think that passes, and we'll put it on the consent agenda unless anybody has any other correction. All right, we have one last action item: on-demand services consultant. Khaled, are you taking that?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi again. Well, a few days ago, about 8 or 9 days ago, we started phase 1. We started running phase 1 of Reinventing Metro by running 24-hour service on 7 routes and making improvements on weekend service, span of service, and so on. And this is just phase 1 out of 5 phases that impact the fixed route service. However, Reinventing Metro is not just about making improvements on the fixed route network itself, and we do have some great things coming, in phases 2 through 5. However, there are other components to Reinventing Metro. One is the bus rapid transit, or BRT. The other component is the mobility on demand portion of mobility for Hamilton County. So this action item is regarding the mobility on demand, and so we're hiring a consultant who's going to look at our service area, pretty much the Hamilton County area, identify 6 neighborhoods that would qualify or would be good areas for mobility on demand. And mobility on demand would use smaller vehicles that can negotiate, tighter streets and serve and provide kind of a localized neighborhood type of service. Could be circulators, could be point-to-point or route deviation. There are different types of mobility on demand services, but that's going to be part of the consultant's work, is to identify 6 neighborhoods, but then also to identify which type of on-demand service would be most applicable to each of these 6 neighborhoods. And then the final task for the consultant is to really design that particular service for each of these neighborhoods. We expect the study to conclude before the end of this year. That's the plan. And then first part of next year, we'll start implementing these services. 7 consultants submitted on this proposal. 1 was disqualified for not meeting the requirements, and then the 6 proposals were evaluated. Tyndale, Oliver, and their team was the winner. They have great experiences in this kind of work, mobility on demand, as well as transit planning expertise. They have a very strong team. 2 of their subs are DBE and or MBE WBE, totaling 18.3 of the contract going towards DDE subconsultants. The total cost is $436,963, and that's going to be funded by grant money, OTP2, that we received actually last year. So the staff recommends approval of resolution authorizing CEO and or CFO to execute a one-year contract with Tender Oliver at a cost not to exceed $436,063. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I had a question, but you said they're evaluating 6 to give a recommendation about a more limited number, or they're trying to find 6 places for mobility on the.
Yeah, so they evaluate our service area and identify 6 neighborhoods that would be viable options for mobility on demand. And then they'll design the service for 5 of these 6 neighborhoods.
Where did that Wi-Fi?
I'm sorry?
Where the number 5? Like, why is the 5 the target?
It could have been, 5 or 6. We just want to see, what we can do, because the implementation is going to cost money, getting vehicles and so on and so forth. So we're probably going to implement 4 or 5 initially, and then, once we have some solid service on the ground, we'll start implementing more and more. For this study, just because of the cost, we're limiting it, to 6. But my expectation is over the next 2 years or so, we'll probably have maybe 8 or 9 or more of these, type of services across the county.
So, Craig, once the study comes back, we'll take a look at it. We're going to implement some mobility on demand next year, as well as the new fixed route service that we'll implement next year. But we'll get a really good mix of what the strategic plan is for phase 2, as we go back out and we talk to the community, and we'll have a really good mix of what phase 2 looks like, as well as to begin going down that road to preparing for BRT on those 2 lines as well. Long term, we're not sure exactly how many mobility on demand services there'll be. It'll have a lot to do with how transit grows in our region, but we want to be prepared with several mobility on demand options for next year. That will be something we'll come back to the board with a recommendation for.
I have a question and a comment. I'm wondering if we can look at it as we go forward. I'm in contact with the blind community and the visually impaired community very strongly, and they have been bringing up an issue or issues related to how can they, as people who are blind or visually impaired, maneuver better within some of our transit centers. And could that be looked at as part of any type of demonstration or any type of evaluation as we go forward? And if we could make that happen, could I play my role or one of my hats roles in bringing the visually impaired blind community together with you, Helen, the planners, John, anyone else who needs to be involved in looking what needs to be looked at, needs to be used and evaluated in terms of how we can make this system more usable, more accessible, more inviting to that community.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Robert, for that input. And absolutely, I'm going to take you on your offer. As a matter of fact, a good portion of this study involves public involvement and meetings, with the public and organizations such as the blind and others. But definitely, I would love to include you, and thank you for your offer.
Well, you got it, and I will
does that mean you want to propose that we pass this resolution?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I'll take that as a movement. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Oh, thank you. Properly moved and seconded. Any additional questions? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so it passes on to the full board. I think that means all three of our items on the consent agenda. Again, board members, if there's anything you want to consider more detail at the full board meeting, we can take anything off. All right, that concludes our business. Any new business? All right, hearing none, I think
We should just
Go
wait.
ahead. Yep, Chris.
This proposal for restrooms, is there anything for us to do on that here?
We'll get back with the board and have an in-depth conversation on restrooms.
All right. So something on restrooms.
There was a
follow up on that later.
There was a proposal by a group to use public funds for some of the CARES Act money, whatever, to buy these new Portland loos that would be placed at our sites, I guess. But I don't know that they really talked to us about it. So.
Okay. Any other new business? All right. Well, our next meeting is July 13th for the committee, and then next week we have a full board meeting. And am I right? It's in person?
We are still working through that right now.
Okay.
We'll let the board know within the next day whether it will be in person or virtual. It's more than likely going to be virtual for this next one, and then we'll plan for July for both the committee meetings and the full board meeting to be in person. But we'll finalize that within the next 24 hours.
Yeah, so the link was for in person, but it looks like we're just having some logistics challenges to get that.
Understood. That's why I wanted to confirm. But thank you, Daryl. Thank you, everybody, the board, everybody on the staff, and the community that's here. This meeting is adjourned.